Hey everyone, welcome back to Unscripted Faith Podcast. I'm Brianna, your host, and I'm so happy to be back. Happy New Year, everybody. Thank you for tuning into this episode. I'm so excited for you guys to be tuning in, listening, and that we just get to have the ability to be alive another year that God has brought us here. And so I thought it would be fun to do an episode kind of just talking about my 2026 ins and outs. And I've seen other people do similar type videos, and really for me what ins and outs means is not vibes or things I'm bringing into the year and things that I'm taking out or that I'm removing. It's practices that I want to implement in my life and practices that I want to stop implementing in my life. And so there's just a couple things that I've been reflecting on and things that I really want to steward well this year and really focus on. And so I want to talk about those. And I also just want to give a moment to kind of just reflect on this past year, everything that God's done through and in me. And yeah, so let's get started. So I want to get started with first the ins and outs of 2026 and what my kind of goals are. They're going to be kind of vague just because I think for me, there's a give and take with the internet, obviously. Like, I've shared some personal things, but I also keep it to where it's like, all right, I'm gonna keep these things private and then make other things public that could hopefully just be encouraging and edifying to you. Other than that, like that's really the main purpose. So let's get into it. Okay, so my first in and out is going to be contentment is going to be coming in, and I'm implementing that into my life. And overconsumption is going out. We're starting strong. I guess I'm going to just kind of reflect on each topic and thing that I'm going to mention with all of those. So first off, yes, contentment over overconsumption. This year, and I talked about this in my last episode, I talk about a lot of things that I'm personally learning and walking through. So of course, this one is definitely not short of something that I have gone through. Obviously I have, and was talking about that in the last episode about materialism. There is a lot of overconsumption in our culture in America. It is very easy to get caught up in things that are cheap, easily accessible, and just a quick buy or quick fashion, whatever it is, whether it's quick fashion, quick things. Even just thinking about how a lot of people get new iPhones every single year, that's crazy. So just kind of reflecting on that, I wouldn't say that I'm like an over the top buyer. I would say it's more so kind of in my heart posture and just what takes up my mental space, because like I reflected on the last episode, social media is really good at driving those thoughts, driving the wants, and different things like that. One thing that I did see was people were writing a list or taking a video of themselves every time that they wanted something so they could hear themselves back saying it and hear how stupid it is if it is something that's stupid. Just to kind of reflect and be like, oh, yeah, that's something I want. Do I really need it? I was literally even tempted like 2 days ago. I was walking through Target. I was looking for like a collagen powder that I use in my protein shakes because I couldn't find it at the food store. So I go in there and I'm walking and I see this Valentine's end cap. And mind you, I love Valentine's Day. It's not for the pagan stuff, but my birthday is very close to Valentine's Day. And so it just kind of like connects with me and my family. So it's just something that I love. I just love the fact that it's sharing love with others, and it's just kind of just a fun time to be cute. It's pink, it's hearts, it's love, whatever. And so I found this end cap of cups. That's my other thing. That's kind of my downfall, or my kryptonite, is cute cups is what I call them. Any type of cup that is funky looking, different, a different shape than what it usually you would see a cup as. So if it's a different like texture, if it's a different shape, if it has a cute little design on it, I love cool cups. So that was kind of combined all in one in this end cap. And it was a kind of like a half size of a cup. It's probably like literally it fits a cup of whatever liquid you want. And it was almost like those, I don't know if it's Anthropologie or if it's, I don't know, it's some like more expensive brand that I don't usually shop from. that has these cups with like all these little like glass shapes and imprints in the cups. So it was like a remake of that, but a Target version, and it had like little white bows in it. And I was like, "Ah, it's so cute." And I literally picked it up. I was like, I'm gonna walk around with it. Oh my gosh. So I sent it to my mom. I'm like, oh my gosh, look how cute this is. And she's like, you don't need it. And I'm like, walking around, still trying to find my collagen, because I didn't even go to grab that at that point. I literally just walked past it and I went to this Valentine section, and I'm walking around with it in my arms, and I'm like, I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm going to put it back. I'm going to put it back. It hurts, but I'm going to put it back. Because I think the thing is for me too, is if something is cheaper, on the cheaper side of things, and it's cute and I like it and I know I'll use it, that's one thing, and it's fine to trick yourself every now and then, like I even mentioned in the last episode. But do I really need it? I do have cool cups at home. I do have cool cups already. I do have a stash of them. So do I need it? No. I'm going to put it to the side. I'm just going to let that one slide. So kind of just the idea of not even just that situation, but like I said and was starting to say with social media and how it really just drives the ideas and desires of overconsumption. I really want to limit that this year. I really want to find contentment. If there's anything that I spend my money on, I would like to invest in memories with friends, family, things that are more purposeful. And of course, buying things aside from literally food and basic necessities, of course, is going to be something that's not necessary. But I think that's kind of where I want to route the things that I spend on. And like I said, finding more contentment, just really like talking myself out of buying more things that I don't need. Because even my closet, I know there's so many clothes that I've kind of like had over the years. And there's a select amount of clothes that I really, really like. I really think are cute. I wear them a lot. And that's kind of like what's happened over the years. And I haven't really like flushed out my wardrobe and kind of like cleaned through and gotten rid of the things that I haven't worn as much. And so even just in that aspect, just thinking of just like too much clutter, too many things that you just don't even know where the heck you can put it all, like it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. It's too much space. It doesn't bring joy. Obviously, we know that the source of our joy, if you believe in Jesus, that Jesus is our only source of joy, no matter what, if you believe in him or not. And so yeah, just really reflecting on that. So really want to focus on contentment this year over consumption. We're going to remove that and work on it. And yeah, like I said in the last episode too, the scripture that I referenced for that I think it was in Matthew. I think it was Matthew 6, if I remember. And it's Jesus saying, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Like, are we storing up our treasures in heaven, or are we storing away our food in barns? Are we focusing on the treasures of this world, or are we just really focusing our time and our energy and our talents and our finances in the things that matter most? And like I said, this is not to be bashing on anyone for buying something or treating yourself. That's fine. But just make sure that it's not something that you consistently focus on. It's not the main source of your attention. That it's not the main source of your joy. And yeah, like, let's just stop prioritizing that. Let's just stop doing those things. Let's go for a walk outside instead. I saw this video of this girl who kind of like talks and tries to limit overconsumption and stuff like that. And she was like, I thought I wanted a blah, 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 but maybe I just needed a good hangout session with my friends. Or, I wanted this really nice coffee cup, but maybe I just needed a nice homemade coffee in one of my favorite glasses. So it's just things like that it's kind of like just brings you back to the simplicity of like, yeah, you know what? Life is more simple and we should make it more simple that way. So that is my first of the 2026 ins and outs. Second one, presence in, perfection out. So what I mean by that is the presence of God. This idea of presence over perfection has kind of been in my mind and been a reflection point. I've really just been sitting and desiring more of God, more of his presence over me trying to be perfect and trying to do everything right and not mess up and be the perfect Christian. I think a lot of times as you get further in your walk, and I've probably said this before too, as you get farther in your walk, as I've gotten farther in my walk, I'll testify to myself. It gets easier to get more focused on the logistics. I always have been kind of just like a rule follower, someone who just is very logistical in some aspects, not all aspects, but in some aspects. And so, how is a Christian supposed to act? How does God call us to act? Okay, let me do these things. And it gets to the point where I find myself striving and I find myself struggling to kind of receive God's love even on the days that I haven't done everything right. And mind you, we all fall short of the glory of God every single day. So even if I think I had a perfect day, I'm sure there's somewhere that I had a blind spot where I messed up, whether it was a thought, something I said, something I did. So I'll never be perfect. And I have gotten to the point where I'm like, I've accepted that. I'm more receptive to receiving forgiveness from God because that was like a big thing is like forgiving myself. And yeah, so I think that's something that I really want to just lean in this year is God, I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just trying to be in your presence. And when we're in his presence, it's refining, it's sanctifying, it changes our hearts. It does so much, like just being in his presence and sitting with him rather than just trying to have it all figured out, rather than trying to do things perfectly. It's like, God, just lead me. And I know that you're going to direct my steps. You're going to allow me to do the things that you want me to do. And nothing that I can do will ever earn your love. Like, my best day is literally dirty rags compared to what Jesus did on the cross. And that's the whole point is that Jesus did it for us. It's already done. There's nothing that I can do to try to fix or make it better or to earn God's love. The only thing that we can do is consistently have a heart where we're seeking and desiring God every single day. We're still open to what he has to say. We're still open to receiving convictions. We're still open to being rebuked by the Holy Spirit, by others, and just wanting to be better and to be open and receptive to that, loving and caring. And obviously, like the first commandment, love the Lord your God above all else and love your neighbor as yourself. So do those two things and seek God's presence over seeking being perfect. Okay. Third, in and out. Being present in and chronic distractions are going out. So what I mean by that, again, with like the materialism kind of along those same lines, social media, it is not a bad thing. I'm not going to bash on it. Obviously, everything in life has its good and bad and its pros and cons. And social media for me, just, I think the last year has been really eye-opening and kind of a little bit before that of just wanting to be more present, wanting to just live life. Life is not meant to be lived chronically online, chronically distracted by the things that don't matter in our life. And while social media can be uplifting and it can be encouraging, it is a dark wormhole void of distractions and pulling us away from God and just keeping our minds from just being like free. There's some days where I'm on social media way too much and more than I ever, intended to be that day, right? I cannot shut my brain off. Like I try to go to bed, my mind is just spiraling. I find those days I am having the hardest time to focus, hardest time to pay attention. Like it is science backed that it is not good for you if you have a certain screen time or if you're on social media for just an extended period of time, and not even just social media, but just our phones and movies or books or whatever it is, just being present in the moment with people, with family. The days that we have, we won't get back. Every single day I've woken up and really reflected on just the fact that I woke up today. And it's not this like cliche, I'm glad I woke up today. It's no, like God could have said that yesterday was my last day, but he woke me up today. He gave breath in my lungs and he allowed me to be alive today. There was a friend of my family and he lost a family member. He lost a sibling, and was very young and passed shortly after his birthday. And it was literally like his birthday. Like it's just, life is very fragile. Life is but a vapor. We know the Bible says this, that we were made from dust, will return to dust. And we don't realize how fragile life is, how fragile the way we treat others is. Just every moment that we have with our family members, like, we have to wake up and realize how fragile and how precious these moments are, because we're not getting them back. Like, I'm not getting back the time that I'm spending, on this podcast. I'm not getting back the day that I just had. I'm not getting back the couple days that I've had, the years, and so on and so forth. And so just being present over just being in my own world and just scrolling on my phone, and me and my family are all sitting around each other, but we're all just on our phones just scrolling. It's just like, it's a tactic of the enemy, honestly. Like I said, not everything is bad. Social media isn't bad. I'm not dogging on that, but it has its pros and cons. But it does have negative aspects where, like, if Satan can't get you to sin, he'll get you to be distracted. So it's just something that I've really have been really intentional about, wanting to take breaks from social media, and just really trying to separate myself from this world and really just try to lean into who God is. Of course, I don't do that perfectly. I've been trying to take a break. Today, I ended up on social media, of course. So it's not to say that I'm perfect at it. And that's why it's one of those things that I want to work on this year, and really focus and reflect on, going into the new year, and just all the things. So that is one, I think, in summary, kind of just a basic borderline idea that I feel like is pretty common, but something that's really important. So the last one that I have for my ins and outs is biblical and raw Christianity in, aesthetic Christianity out. So I talked about this one in the last episode too, but I want Christians in America, all over the world, to live a life that truly reflects the gospel, truly reflects the Bible, truly reflects Jesus. The story of Jesus is so upside down from what the world thought. The Pharisees were confused and didn't accept Jesus because they thought that the Messiah was going to be someone who was going to come and be a ruler and strong and handsome and, all these things. And he's going to turn Rome, and, he's going to just make it so much better for his people and bring his kingdom on this earth. And that is not who they got. They got a God that came in the flesh as a baby. The God of the universe came as a baby to be cared for, and came in this humble and lowly position, and didn't come in the way that they expected. And, his life and the way he died was gruesome. It wasn't perfect. It sure wasn't aesthetic, I'll tell you that. And it's loving messy people, which is all of us. It's loving, I'm messy too. I'm broken too. And aesthetic Christianity just doesn't reflect that. Of course, I think God has given us creativity. I am very creative. I even, I love aesthetics. I love putting things together. Like, this room is aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. And, I think he's created that. He's given that to some of us. And a lot of people like putting things together that just look right and fit together right. And I think that's part of, why the Pharisees didn't accept Jesus, and why people today don't accept Jesus, is because it just doesn't seem like it just fits just right, or it looks just right. But it is true, and it is right. And so where I'm getting at that is just not putting Christianity, and more importantly, Jesus and God, in this box of an aesthetically pleasing life, because in all honesty, the past year that I have had, just reflecting, like, God took me through a year of joyful obedience, and more obedience than it was joyful, obviously, but the joy part is that it was just a contentment in every situation, regardless of the circumstance. And I was very refined last year, and I'm so thankful for the last year and everything that I've gone through, and everything that God taught me and learned, that I learned, and that He just pushed me through, because it brought me to a place of lowliness and humbleness, and utter reliance on Him and dependency on Him. And it was messy. It was very messy. But if I had an aesthetic year, would I have gotten farther in my relationship with God? Would I have viewed Him by the end of the year the same way that I do? I don't know. I don't know that I could say that. And so, maybe not every aesthetic prayer or everything that I wanted was answered in the way that I thought, but God is doing something. He always is doing something. And if you've been walking with God for at least a little bit, you know that He never answers in the way that we would expect Him to, which is great because it's always better. And even if it doesn't seem better at the moment, He has a bigger plan. And so I just want you guys to be encouraged that maybe try what I want to do by trying to separate biblical Christianity from aesthetic Christianity, is separating aesthetics from my walk with God and not combining them and putting them together. I don't really know what that looks like, but I want to try. And so maybe that means not making, this aesthetic, like everything's laid out perfectly and beautifully, and, just really sitting in scripture and understanding it, and just having better biblical literacy. Obviously enacting and acting as a follower and disciple of Christ, rather than just posting about it. Which I don't think is something that I do. I really rarely even post on my socials anymore. And you guys have probably seen, if you follow the podcast Instagram, that there hasn't really been much there either. And that's kind of come hand in hand with just the breaks from social media. So sorry about that. You might just see more content pop up on YouTube than you do anywhere else. So we'll see. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts with that. Overall, it has been a year that has been stretching. Like I said, just taking steps of obedience. One thing that I would encourage you guys from what I've learned in the past year with joyful obedience is walk into the obedience willingly. If there is something in your flesh that is fighting you so hard from doing the thing that you feel led to do, fight the flesh even more and just do it. I'm telling you, there have been quite a few times this year where I have felt led by God to do something, and I wrestle with my flesh about it, and I go back and forth, and there is a conversation that I allow to happen, which I shouldn't. And part of the times I wasn't obedient at first. And so when that happened, I was more encouraged to step out and do it when God gracefully gave me another opportunity to redeem myself in those situations. And then I took it, and then I pushed myself. But I just encourage you guys so much. If God is telling you to do something, please, please, please be obedient to the call. Obviously, we're not going to be perfect. Like I said, I'm not perfect. I'm not here to be preaching that I'm perfect. That is the last thing that I'd like to say. Especially in my walk with God. So I want you guys to know that above anything else. But yeah, just really sit with God, and I sit with Him every year too, and I kind of just ask Him, like, God, is there a word that you have for me this year? Just to kind of like give like an overall theme for where you're leading me, kind of what you're going to take me through. And obviously the word is a word, but it's not going to explain everything that's going to happen. And, it's just been really cool because God has confirmed over the last 2 years so far, now going into the 3rd year of doing that. Just the way He confirms the word is just so cool. And just knowing that it didn't come from me, because just sitting back at the year and I'm like, wow, this word just randomly popped up, and then just everything that happened over the year is crazy to reflect and just be like, yeah, that was the word. And it's cool because I had mentioned this past year in one of the podcasts about the word joyful obedience, and I kind of explained like this vision I got, and yeah, God has been giving me visions on just what that looks like. And so whatever it is, just sit with God, ask him, be with him, be like, God, what are my ins and outs? What should my ins and outs for this year be? What should be things that I'm bringing in and implementing to bring me closer to you? And what are things that I should remove that are taking me further away from you? And it will bless your life. It blessed mine. I also highly encourage doing like a prayer board style thing, but also writing like a little note or letter for the next year. And whether it's like different sections, like for me, like I'll have my word and I'll just kind of like write kind of just a prayer for the year of like what I'm maybe hoping and praying for through that word, what could happen. And then just opening it a year later and just being like, wow, that's so cool that I wrote it on this day. And now I'm sitting a year later and, just reflecting on all that God's done and his faithfulness and his goodness. So yeah, take time to reflect on the things that God's already done in your life before you go trying to seek more, because truly where we're at right now, like there's nothing else we need. We just need Jesus. We just need God. We just need his presence. We just need him. And that's that. Mic drop. But yeah, so really reflect on that. I hope that some of my ins and outs were encouraging. Hope they were maybe thought-provoking, challenging, convicting, whatever it is. I hope that it was encouraging in some way, and kind of just brought maybe some more insight into what you've been praying on, things that maybe you've been considering and you're like, wow, yeah, all right, she said it too. Let's do it. I'm not the only one. Yeah, just know you are not alone in any of this and in your walk with Christ. So I hope this was encouraging and uplifting, and I hope you got something from it. If you liked this episode, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you also are interested, you can follow us on Instagram at Unscripted Faith Podcast, and also on Spotify at Unscripted Faith Podcast. I hope this blessed you, encouraged, and uplifted you, and I hope you guys have a blessed day and a blessed week and a blessed year. In Jesus' name. Bye, guys.